Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do.
You
Yeah.
do? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out and then I'll record it and I'll send it to you and you can post it if you want to post it or
That
whatever.
works. Yeah, that works.
Cool. It looks like we're live. So,
Okay.
um,
Boom.
boom. Let's do it. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey.
I got Crypto Compassion here. I'm RichyRich. We're both Hexicans. That's how we met. We basically met on Twitter
Yeah.
and started talking to each other, and we decided to have conversations. So we'll see where it goes. We don't really have much of a plan. Might talk a little bit about what's currently going on, which is a bear market,
Yeah.
and this Pulse chain launch, which is who knows when. So we'll just talk and kind of see what happens, and hope everybody enjoys. So,
Yeah.
Crypto Compassion, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. I've kind of been in the community. I think I made my first stake of Hex back in March of 2021. So I'm not like completely OG, but I've been bopping around the community, trying to participate in every way possible. Was fortunate to go down to Austin, Texas with the 555 tour when they did their thing, and that was fun. That was kind of my first introduction to meeting Hexagons in person. And then later on, I went to Las Vegas this last go around, and I'll be going to PostCon also here in about a month, so that should be fun. Yeah,
Awesome. So you got to catch the 555 tour.
yeah, I did. Yeah,
Uh,
so that was good.
I'm gonna adjust my camera because I feel like I'm looking like
There we go.
I want to be looking at you. There
Yeah,
you go. Okay, cool. Yeah, they rolled through Denver and
yeah,
got to hang out with them for a little bit. Got to see the car and everything like that. It was pretty cool.
yeah,
Super nice guys. So
yeah.
I guess the tour is officially over.
Right.
Have you been following along what they've been doing?
Yeah, a little bit. I was it 2 days ago. I spoke with Black Mexican Caitlin, and I'm going to be helping out with the golf tournament. I'm actually going to be on the Hex golf team, and me and the hexiest man in the world are going to be on the same team. And then I'm going to be looking to recruit some just super stud golfers to be on the other Hex
Mm.
team. They're just going to be, ringers. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't think I'll ever want to give up my position of being on the Hex golf team from here on out. I'm thinking it's going to be happening like every year, and I'm going to just keep doing it.
Yeah, that's cool. Full disclosure, I don't know anything about the Hex golf team.
Yeah,
I've been pretty much you know how bear markets are. Like, I haven't really been
yeah,
doing much involved. Like, I haven't even hardly been on Twitter or YouTube. This is the first live stream or stream that I've done in a long time.
yeah,
So I just been we were talking a little bit before the show that
right,
bear markets are time to grind. It's time to make some money. It's time to start investing.
yeah,
That's pretty much how I got into it. Well, I've been in crypto for over 6 years, but I finally realized after that first market cycle that I went through, and I never took profits, and I didn't realize, that I thought it was going to go up for forever, right? So,
right,
um, I was prepared for this time basically. So I was,
nice,
kind of like, yeah, I DCA in on the way down, and then I take profit just a little bit on the way up. Whenever it pumps, I just take enough to whatever I need. Never sold more than I needed. I only took enough to like pay for bills and stuff like that. So in the bear market, it's time to build, and then
right.
bull market, it's time to relax and enjoy the hard work you've done. So
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. What can you tell me a little bit more about the golf thing?
yeah. So it's kind of what the 555 tour has kind of evolved into the Million Pulse tour. And so they're putting on the golf tournament the day before PulseCon conference starts. And so there's a lot of different people coming out and sponsoring individual holes. So you got like some of like the Hex ladies coming out, and they're sponsoring a hole. And then I think that they're really inviting other crypto communities other than Hex, Pulse Chain, and Pulse X to come out and kind of compete with us. So who knows? I mean, we might have to take it to like Shiba Inu or something like that, But I think the the ethos of what's kind of going on with this PulseCon conference too is like an inclusive, you know what I mean? As far as even if we don't necessarily agree with these other crypto communities, as far as I think we need to understand that if Pulse Chain is going to thrive, that there's going to have to be other cryptocurrencies that want to come and thrive in their own individual arena.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an interesting concept that I really haven't thought about it too much, to be honest with you. I had like 75 cryptos at one point. Yeah, for real. I had over 75 cryptos at one point. I guess not last bull run, but the last bull run before that. I was in everything.
Yeah.
I'd buy something, it would pump the next day, and it was the Wild West, and so going through an experience like that and then never taking profit and realizing that I became more focused on how to make profit and actually how to make this make money for me.
Okay.
The technology was always appealing, and I think it was so new, nobody knew, right? And so we had all these ICOs and all these things that were just new, right? Like they were going to replace supply chain, and there was a crypto. It was for high end goods, right? And so it was
Right.
Gucci is going to use this for their products and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Nobody knew, right? So nobody knew that the technology was actually just a bad public ledger that's slow and expensive.
Right.
So I do come from a technology background. I've worked for some major technology companies, and I'm still in the technology space, software specifically right now. And so, once you have an understanding of the economics of finance and financial transactions, and then identifying the need and understanding the market and market need and things like that, it's it changes my perspective. I do think there are some coins that are that will bring value to finance, which is, in my opinion, is the value in crypto, right? So having immutable transactions was always important to me.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself in a couple of different situations where bank accounts were frozen. I was traveling and I couldn't access my money because somebody else was technically owning my money. And so those type of situations really pushed me to try to dig deeper into the understanding of what finance is, what money is, how it works, and how I can own my own damn money, essentially.
Right.
I don't like people telling me what to do. I'm more of I don't know the right word for it, but I don't like people telling me what to do, and especially with things that I've earned. So the things that I own and the things that I've worked for, I like to keep and I like to be in control of. That was my first appeal to crypto and being an immutable transaction that nobody can undo and nobody can just seize or whatever. So that was kind of my appeal to crypto, was being able to own my own money and going down that path. And then through that path, there's been all these other things where they're oh, we could do this, oh, we could do that, we could do properties, we can do all these things. We'll see what happens in the future with that. I'm not like I said, I own 75 cryptos, so I bought everything that I thought was popular, and now people are oh, what about this, what about that? And it's I found Hex basically when Richard Hart first started. So I was in the Strape chat. So back almost 3 years before it launched, I was in the Richard Hart chats, like a Telegram. I was underneath a different name. I don't want to disclose that name right now because I was trying to figure it out. I was figuring stuff out. So, but I remember being in the Strape chat, arguing with Richard Hart and being it was actually when Bitcoin Cash came out. And so me and another Hexagon, who's well known now, but I'm not going to talk about the people. Yeah. But we kind of both were at him, and I basically one night I remember going at Richard Hart and being so if basically that if Bitcoin takes over, or if Bitcoin has like these like second layer blockchain,
Mm-hmm.
that defeats the whole purpose of Bitcoin. So like basically these layer two protocols can be recalled. So it's basically like off-chain transactions,
Right.
and they can be reversed. Like they cannot be accepted into the blockchain. And so when I found that out, I was like, WTF, mate? Like that kind of defeats the whole purpose of what the reason I got into cryptocurrency in the first place.
Right.
Immutable truth, immutable transaction. Just like truth for everybody and everybody being on the same page at the same time. That was
Yeah.
really like my appeal to cryptocurrency in the first place. So, I think how this kind of rant got started was you're talking about other coins and being
Yeah.
on Pulse Chain. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, and I
Yeah.
think the Hex community is going to have to not be maxis.
Yeah.
My personal philosophy in life is that life isn't always about what I want and what I need.
Mm-hmm.
I try to recognize that there are other people have other needs than what I need. So the reason why I got in cryptocurrency may be different than other people, and so I really don't care what other people do as long as they're not hurting somebody.
Right.
I don't like pump and dumps. I don't like scams. I don't like having admin keys on a blockchain is not blockchain in my opinion.
Yeah. Exactly.
So but with I don't think Pulse Chain is technically open source software, but people will be allowed to develop code and software that could be malicious, will have backdoors, will have admin keys. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's just kind of the situation that we're in right now. And I think people need to be honest with themselves that
Yeah.
in order for us to get, or I say us, people that invested in Hex, the reason why Pulse Chain was eventually created was so that we could have cheaper gas fees, right? So it was so that we could be onboarding people, have cheaper fees. I don't know about you, but I got some stakes that are like several $100s to unstake. And when I first started, I was investing very small amounts. I have like one of my first stakes that I did was like a couple Hex, just because I wasn't sure. Yeah, I have like, if you like, well, you won't go into my accounts, but I'm telling you right now, I have a stake right now that's been like done for almost a year now, and I
Just
staked like
bleeding out.
it was only a couple Hex, so like
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like $50 to unstake, like 10 cents for the Hex. And I was just like, I didn't know. I was experimenting with it, but
Right.
people need to understand why Pulse Chain was created, and it was to be able to onboard and give us, what we need, which is cheaper, faster transactions, especially when Ethereum made it more expensive for specifically people that owned a Hex to unstake and to transact on the network.
Yeah.
That is why Pulse Chain was invented. I never spoke to Richard Hart personally about it. I do remember a long time ago him saying that if something happens, we could fork it and create our own network. And so, but I don't think, like I said, I was in the chats for years before it was actually launched, and so that was never really something that was even brought up of, because Ethereum was so much better than Bitcoin that nobody even needed to really even talk about a new chain or whatever. And so I don't think that was his like original plan, was like, I'm going to build this whole ecosystem. I think it's been like a result of just the evolution of cryptocurrency essentially.
Yeah.
And so I mean, like you said, we're gonna have to figure out. People need to. I don't know the solution. I mean, have you thought about it? Like, what do you think? Do you believe in regulation? Do you think that we should, ban certain cryptos from being developed on Pulse Chain? Is that something that you agree with or think about?
Well, we know that there's going to be bad stuff that's going to come, but I will say this much: I think the Hexskins, and I guess you could call them Pulsekins, but mostly the Hexskins have kind of evolved into like the Pulse Police. You know what I mean? Where they whether it's right or wrong, I think that they're getting a little bit more understanding that, hey, projects are going to launch, and not all projects are bad, but the ones that are bad, we're sure as hell going to call them out. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. I mean, there's so much good things coming out of this community as far as when you got a bunch of Hexicans that are used to holding. I think it's only going to be a beautiful thing for Pulse Chain and Pulse X.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The beautiful part of software like this is that you can produce anything and put it on it, right?
Right.
With that comes a lot of things that aren't good, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, maybe calling it out is the best way to do it. I guess my philosophy is leading by example, and so
Yeah.
what the content that I try to produce is essentially, I just want to lead by example. So I've
Yeah.
actually been a Hexican that's been there from day one. I was a day one OG. I was in Strafe Chat, and I believed in it as soon as I started hearing about it and like understanding what the concept was. I was all in. So I sold all 75 of those coins, and I consolidated everything into Ethereum and Bitcoin. Actually,
Nice.
I consolidated everything into Bitcoin first for the snapshot. I sold everything that I had besides like one privacy coin, and that's not for not for monetary gain. It's because of freedom of speech and for the technology. So it's not something that I go around and promote. But I am still involved. I know the developer. We're friends.
Cool.
We talk, and I've been mining it for over 2.5 years.
Okay.
And it's just because of, again, it offers something completely different than what Hex does, and it's not for like an investment thing. It's just for like freedom, essentially. Freedom of money, freedom of speech, freedom of transactions. That's why I think privacy coins, or specific ones, they could have potential benefit in the future.
Nice.
But yeah, so I was a believer since before most people knew about Hex, and as we're seeing, things are evolving, and that's how life is supposed to go. Things are supposed to evolve. Like, what makes us the most powerful animal is that we can adapt to change and continue to improve. And so, my personal opinion is that people need to relax, but also like understand the process, and maybe have a little bit more maturity on stepping back from the situation that we're in, instead of just being so Twitter finger and immediately blasting out people, blasting out projects. Things that are detrimental, they're detrimental, but the hardest lessons I've ever learned were hard lessons to learn. And I've been, I was on the Cryptopia, hack. I lost a lot of money on that. Hit BTC. I'll straight up call them out right now. They posted ICOs that had like false tags that if you looked it up on CoinMarketCap or whatever, they were something different than when you looked it up. They were like so new, but they had the same tag as something else. And so I've lost money pretty much every way that you possibly can in crypto. Yeah. So like, I've put in the work, and I've done the research, and the few coins that I hold right now are not from just guessing and gambling. It's from a lot of pain, a lot of money loss, a lot of a lot of hard lessons. And so I think that's a part of, I don't think that's going to go away. I think there's always going to be somebody that thinks they have a good idea. Maybe they launch it, and then they find out, and the people that invested in it find out that that wasn't a good investment. Which goes for most investments, by the way. That's not new to capital investment. You can invest in any company in the world, and restaurants is like the best example. Your friend might make great food. That doesn't mean that you're going to make any money if you invest in that company. You actually have like a 90+% chance that they're going to go bankrupt. So Crypto is not much different than that, in my opinion. And so, the sympathy for people losing money and making bad choices in their investment is, I don't have a lot of it. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's important to protect people, of course, and like promote projects that, are good and solid, which is what I'm really careful about doing.
Mm-hmm.
The brand that I've been trying to create, it's based off of my experience. It's not about guessing.
Yeah.
I don't post things and say this might be good. I only show proof of work.
Yeah.
Pun intended. I've been living off crypto. Like, I've actually, found things that have worked for me. I've created strategies that actually work for me. I don't sell. I don't sell anything. I've never asked for money. There's no way to give me money.
Yeah.
I'm just about giving my experience, and I want to help as many people as I can. And it's more fun when your friends have money with you and like can do stuff, right? So it's like,
Right.
just giving out good information and going from there.
Yeah. So you think you're going to go to PulseCon?
No,
No, you're not.
there's no Pulse chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I invest in Pulse?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Good on you.
But they're putting the cart before the horse.
Right.
There was no guarantee. I didn't read the website because I don't need to, because I know that there's no guarantee. But I bet you somewhere on the website and on the sacrifice things, it probably says expect nothing from giving your
Right.
money here.
Right.
So no, I'm not going to PulseCon. I don't have anything like that set up. I'm working, man. I'm working. I'm
Just
grinding.
grinding, huh?
I'm grinding. I'm investing.
Yeah.
I'm rebuying the bags that
Yeah.
that got smaller over the last bull market.
Right.
That's my strategy, and that's anybody that asks me what I'm doing, that's what I'm going to tell them. It's like
Yeah.
I got nothing to hide. So
Yeah. No, I mean,
yeah,
I'm in the same boat. I've been working 6, 7 days a week. I just kind of decided I'm going to just put my head down and start just grinding, same thing. And, you know, I'm excited about the opportunities what the bear market give,
yeah.
So,
That is where the opportunity is. The opportunity is not in the. I mean, the opportunity to make profit is to take profit in the bull market,
right,
and you can only take profit in a bull market if you've been buying the bear.
right.
So it's like everybody says it. You got to buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, but it's really that simple. Like, it's you have to expand your time horizon of investment. And once I realized, in Hex, I give full credit for this, because I was day trading. I had alarms going off at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when certain price points were hit on certain coins, and I was getting up and trading those. It wrecked me mentally. Like, it ruined a relationship that I had.
Yeah,
I was doing things to stay up longer than I should have.
right.
Um, it's totally unhealthy. And what Hex has done is allow me to sit back and think and create out an investment strategy that works for me. And
Yeah,
so, I have a plan, I have goals. And so I've created my staking ladder essentially to accommodate the goals that I have. And
yeah,
so that's been huge for me. And that's one of the biggest things when I onboard somebody is, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'll give you all the information that I have, but it's up to you to create your own investment strategy and what your goals are.
yeah,
Setting like realistic goals are super important. Like, so my goal has always been to be able to retire by 40.
yeah,
And it's I've had that goal since I was in my early 20s. Just for some reason, there was just that number 40 was in my head, and I was like, man, if I can make enough money by the time I'm 40 to never have to work again,
yeah,
that's my goal. It's not a number amount. It's not like, oh, once I achieve this much money, then I'll stop. It's just been, once I am 40, I don't want to have to work again, but I love working. I know I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep
right,
investing. I'm going to keep going. But my goal has been to, once I hit that age 40, I just want to have enough money in my bank account to not have to work again if I don't ever want to.
Right.
And so basically my staking ladder is like, it's like a pyramid. It started when I started investing in Hex. It goes till when I hit 40, it like ratchets up. And on my 40th birthday, essentially, are my biggest stakes that I've made. And then I still have invested out till 15 years, but it's like this, So I had a target that I created my staking ladder around, essentially, and that was my goal, my plan. We'll see how it works. So far so good. This past what has it been, over 2 years now that Hex has been launched. It's been absolutely life-changing for me. It's given me the ability to do things that I haven't ever been able to do before, and we'll see what the future holds.
So do you think you'll build any projects on Pulse Chain, or because it sounds like you kind of do some development? No?
I'm not a coder. So I am in sales, essentially. So I'm too social to sit and not talk to people. So what I do all day is talk to people. I make deals happen, marketing, networking. That's kind of my forte. Yes, but I've been asked to be a part of several projects, and I'm not interested. To be honest with you, I'm not. What I'm doing right now works, and I know it's important to always grow and have like a diverse portfolio. But I'm not afraid to work. I'm not afraid to work 5, 6, 7 days a week, and work long, hard hours so I can invest. So yeah, I mean, I'm always open-minded. I'll never not look at a opportunity. But I haven't seen anything that really appeals to me. Also, I haven't been looking. It's just the people that have reached out to me. I listen to them. But pretty quickly I'm just like, I don't have time for this, because what I'm doing is working. How about you? Are you you're part of any projects, or investing in anything else?
No, the only thing that I could kind of foresee in my future kind of highlights. I own the cryptocompassion.org, and I've thought about running a nonprofit on the blockchain at some point. But it'd be strictly to help people, and it'd be an opportunity for people to maybe realize, in crypto gains, how they could keep more of their funds through a nonprofit on the blockchain. But that's just something that would be like a legacy project. You know what I mean? It would obviously, I'm not looking to get any profits off it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, by the way.
Yeah. Are you looking to branch out like into more real estate at all, or you like real estate? You want
to? So my thought process at this moment is invest in what makes the most money. And crypto is the highest appreciating asset known to man. And so my money is in cryptocurrency. I don't. It's
hard to get into the slow lane when you've been driving Ferrari, right?
Yeah. I mean, I have people reach out to me all the time about other investment strategies and things like that. And the profit margin that I made over the last couple of years is unmatched, so many folds, by any other thing I could have invested in. I'm really just not interested in having my money in anything else that isn't the best potential return. And that I will preface it with this, that that's just a personal preference. I understand that diversification is important. I do have other things that I want to do with my money, but I'm in a place right now. So I'm not even mid 30 yet. I'm like, I'm 33. So I'm 33. I have no kids. I don't have a wife or girlfriend at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm in the best possible situation to not have to really like do safe investments, or safer investments, however you want to
Right.
put it. And so I just I'm going for it.
Right.
I actually was married earlier on in life, and so that was about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I did do things a little bit safer when I was working on building a family and having kids. And so anybody out there that if anybody listens to this, anybody out there listening to this, I'm not comparing myself to you, and I understand that every situation is different. I wouldn't recommend going all in on crypto if you have like kids and stuff like that. And I'm not a financial advisor, so
Right.
this is I just want to be honest about what I'm doing and what I'm thinking, for my situation. And everybody's situation is gonna be different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm renting. I don't own right now. I don't own a
Right.
house. I've owned a house in the past. That was,
Yeah.
you know, depending on when you buy them, depending on when you buy. I mean, it's all market cycles. So that was
Right.
another thing that I realized, that I was, I had purchased a house. Um, I had purchased a house on a good time, and that was fine and everything like that. But the money that I made on crypto was just,
So much better.
it's
Yeah.
just doesn't it's not even a conversation.
Yeah.
So as far as like investment strategy goes, for me personally, I will be continuing doing what I'm doing, which
Yeah.
is DCAing into the projects that I think are the safest projects that you can invest in crypto,
Right.
essentially. So it's still, the future's not promised. I understand
Yeah.
that. So I'm not, you know, blind to that, or think that, that I found like that I found the thing, right. So I'm not
Right.
like cocky about that. It's just, um, but I will be honest and open about what I'm doing. And, so that's what we're doing right now, just talking and
Yeah.
saying what we're doing. So how
Yeah.
about you? Are you in other assets, or?
I've been into real estate, but I understand what you're saying. I think I'm going to start taking a harder look here in the next year or two. But I hear what you're saying though. It's kind of like driving a school bus, and then crypto is like the Ferrari,
Yeah.
you know. And but um, I'm 42, and I think that my goal is to be fully retired by 45, and
Yeah.
I've taken some steps to get there. So I'm thinking that through some of these cycles with Pulse Chain and Pulse X, and then the stake and ladders of Hex, that I should be
Yeah.
there. But in the meantime, it means hard work, right?
I've
It,
never had anything come to me easily. I didn't come
and
from money or anything like that. So I've worked for everything that I've
yeah,
had.
and I think that my goal too is like, even if you could do nothing, sit on a beach, I won't do that. You know what I mean? I'm going to continue to grind, but I think there's
Yeah.
that sense of peace and um, of just life feeling like it's taken, this part of my life is taken care of, and now I'm going to just go kill it even more. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm on the same page. Again, it's not a. I've had to really do some deep thinking, with my life philosophy and where happiness comes from. And for me, I've come to the decision that life is not about a goal or
Yeah.
an end result. It's about the process.
The journey.
And yeah, it's about the journey. It's about setting goals and working hard enough to where you are happy that you are working towards your goals. And your goals can always change.
Yeah.
Um, they will change. They do change. Things happen
Yeah.
in your life where your perspective changes, and you think certain things become more important than others. And so
Yeah.
for me, it's not about an end goal. It's not a number. It's not a, it's not even being if I hit 40 and I'm not able to not work again, that's not going to crush me anymore.
Yeah.
I've come to love myself, and I've proven to myself that my ideas, although are far fetched and not the norm, um, I've become comfortable with that. It's important to have your own visions and have your own goals and work towards them,
Yeah.
and surround yourself with people that encourage that and support that.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now, and that's what I'm gonna keep doing until that changes.
No, and it sounds like you have a good circle of people that you work with. That you surround yourself with. I mean, it's really important. What is it? You're the average of your 5 closest friends. Is that how it goes? And you
Um,
know, it's always good to get around people that are succeeding and ambitious. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah, absolutely. It's man. So I recently moved about a little over 2 years ago.
yeah,
Um, to where I am currently, and part of that was creating a new circle and
yeah,
surrounding like cutting out the toxic people in my life and
yeah,
surrounding myself with people that do build me up, because it only really takes one person to really bring you down.
yeah,
Somebody that you really care about. So I mean, I guess everybody's different, but for me, I'm a very like loving, compassionate person, and so I
yeah,
feel what other people feel, and so when somebody's hurting, it it affects me, and so I've really had to try to rebuild my circle
yeah,
essentially. And there's a lot of cool hexagons out there that if anybody out there is looking for people to reach out to and talk to, the community is huge. It's strong.
yeah,
I had somebody over at my apartment this past weekend that
yeah,
was a software developer that my friend knew, and he was like, "You got to meet this guy." Comes over and sees my hex like magnet
yeah,
on my fridge, and I have like, dude, I have somebody just sent me like all this hex stuff. And I was like,
yeah,
I have hex stuff everywhere. Like I have a like kind of a hex painting. Like I got hex stuff everywhere. And so this guy was like, "Oh, so you're into hex?" And I was like, did you know about hex? And he was like, "Yeah, I'm a software developer. Like I've been in crypto for a while." And I was like, "Dope." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Actually, I have. Nice to meet you."
yeah,
So I don't life is it's interesting, but people don't give themselves enough credit for the impact and the power that they actually have and the decisions that they have over their life to create the life that they want to create.
yeah,
Stop making excuses. Life is
yeah,
hard for everybody. Life is going to be hard for everybody. Like certain times, like everybody can sit at home and cry and stay in their mom's basement, whatever it is you're doing, like whatever.
yeah.
Not you. I'm just saying, like in
No,
general,
I
like
hear
what
you.
whatever people are like their excuses and like whatever they're stuck on. It's like I've been there. I've done that, and it's like it's got to come from within. It's got to come from
Yeah,
within. There's no like magic golden ticket. There's like, I didn't just buy hex and then like make some money. I've been in crypto for 3 or 4 years before that, and like
yeah,
it and I dedicated my life to it. Like it's not just like I accidentally like came across it. And most of the people that were in that strafe chat were in the same situation. Like everybody that they call themselves OGs or whatever, like you really get to know these people. They didn't just get lucky, right? They
right,
didn't just like, you know, I'm there's always an anomaly. I'm sure there's
right,
somebody, but the people that actually knew about it before it launched and like invested in it are doing well. Like it wasn't an accident. It wasn't just like they got lucky. It wasn't just they like caught a good pump and then just like became millionaires overnight or whatever. It's like that's just not what that's not how life works, So you know,
yeah,
you gotta grind, right?
yeah.
Gotta grind. You gotta figure out your own grind and keep going with it.
So,
Um,
what are you excited about here in the next, I don't know, 6 months? I mean,
the dip,
the dip,
the dip.
what finally just dipped down?
Bro, we went up to 40 cents and it's at what, 3 cents? It's at like
Yeah, I
it's at
think
it's at 4.4 right now.
is it at four
Um,
four? So it's pumping a little bit, huh?
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Let's see.
And
I mean,
just to get
I wouldn't say pumping, but yeah, I
well,
mean,
I mean, I think it was sitting at what was it sitting at?
we went down to I think we hit almost 1 cent. Let's see. This says 2.7. I don't know if this is what everybody else is using, but
Yeah,
looking at it right now, my charting says 2.7 was my low.
right.
That to me is opportunity. And so Pulse chain was exciting. You know, I put a lot of money in Pulse chain, and I got a lot of other people to put money into Pulse chain, and
Yeah.
I managed those text threads and conversations for several months, and finally people have stopped asking me. But I know that, like, you know, there's a
When's it
lot of
gonna
money.
launch?
There's a lot of money invested into it from a lot of
Yeah.
different people, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But you know, that is exciting to me.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you think? Are you in like Pulse Doge or anything like that?
I mean, I got my free claim, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
there's a part of me that kind of wishes maybe I would have, you know, done a Wolverine and got a little bit more into it. But I don't know. I mean, I think I'm probably like you. I went, like, I saw, like, when you really grasp the idea of T-shares, and you got to remember, I stumbled across Hex in March of 2021, and you kind of start looking at people with like thousands of T-shares, and you're like, huh. And then I was in a situation where another crypto that will remain anonymous, you know, it hit really, really good. And it was a real pump and dump, unfortunately. And I don't like to play around with those, but I got into Pulse Chain. It pumped right first part of July. I remember it was July 4th of
Wait,
2020.
you say Pulse Chain?
No, not well. I mean, just before Pulse Chain
Oh,
sacrifice.
okay, okay, sorry.
You know what I mean? So it was like a situation where I cashed out everything, and I was just sitting there, and like, I was like, oh man, here's Richard Hart. He's been talking about this. I'm gonna just go in heavy, and you know, but like you said, it does say no expectation of the work of the others, and you know, I think that he might have been being a little bit of prophetic though too, in the sense that, you know, freedom of speech and freedom of movement, and what we see now with potential CBDCs, you know, Pulse Chain and this whole ecosystem might be, you know, just that in a lot of ways, freedom of movement and freedom of speech.
If the Hexicans will let them talk. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm joking, but yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. You're right, and you know, that's why I got in blockchain, and that's why it's a reason why I do support a new network.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, when I heard that Richard Hart was launching a new chain, and that my hex was going to be copied onto a new chain, that absolutely frightened me, and I was just like, I tried to stay level headed and process things, but I had a lot of money at that time in hex. It's the most money I've ever had in my life, and
Right.
like when I found out that he did have the power to change it and to copy it and put it onto the chain, my mind just like popped. I was just like, you mean this is going to change? And then I was just like, he said that he could do this.
Right.
It really did scare me. It really made me nervous. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't really support it at first. I was like, no, I was like, you know, selfishly, F you if you can't afford an ETH transaction right now.
Mhm.
Not you personally again.
No, I didn't mean though. Yeah.
That was just that was my natural reaction to the situation, was like, you know, sorry if you can't afford, you know, a couple $100 to like move some Ethereum or like make a transaction or something like that. And that was a total selfish way to react to it. And you know, I talked to a lot of people. I got a good group of friends in the Hex community that we were all discussing this at the same time, and we were all, you know, trying to figure out how to deal with this essentially.
Right.
And I finally came to the conclusion that it is a healthy, it was the right decision, even though it was a hard decision. And even
Yeah.
though, you know, for my own comfort, you know, having the unknown of two chains was like, man, that was like that was my retirement, right? So that was like that's what I was banking on. It was like nothing changing, immutable, right? Like not changing. The code doesn't change. Well, the code doesn't change, but the network can change. What can happen to the network can change. One chain can do better than the other. All these things, and then people are like, well, are you going to sell your ETH hex for Pulse hex? And like, when I had to start thinking about that, when I like had worked for 32 years of blood, sweat, and tears, like to get to this point where I finally felt like I could see the light at the end of the tunnel finally for myself and like my family and like everybody that I take care of. I like it was difficult, and so I finally have come to the conclusion that it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And my strategy right now is to not choose a chain. It's a free copy. So will there be an opportunity to invest heavier on one and potentially make more money? I think that's accurate. But everybody's getting a free copy, so at the end of the day, it should balance out. I don't think they're both going to tank because of a copy. I think there will be one that'll do better potentially in the beginning. Again, this is all theory. Like these are my thoughts. So like, I don't really know. These are just my thoughts. I think maybe in the beginning, there's gonna be a pump. I think there'll be a correction. I think Ethereum 2.0 will eventually fix itself. There's so much money in that ecosystem where they will fix the issue. They'll have to be competitive. Whether Pulse is that thing, that catalyst that makes Ethereum say, all right, boys and girls and people that don't identify as either, we got to compete in the market, right? And so I think the market will eventually balance out, and so I've kind of like come to peace at that. So I'm going to be holding both. If one of them drops, I'm going to be buying the one that drops, because what I do know about the contract and the code about Hex is that it's still the most unique smart contract I've ever seen. Again, I don't pay attention to everything because I got something that works. It's working for me. There's no admin keys, no backdoors. There's no funny business with it. And that's what I'm looking for in my money. The less funny business in my money, the better. And that's again why I got into cryptocurrency in the first place, is to be able to, invest in something, make money, and be able to control it. Have my own keys, and we'll see what happens, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be looking at that same strategy. Yeah, I can almost guarantee that there's going to be some pretty large players that will buy a dip in Ethereum if it dips. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's still there.
You know what I mean?
There's hexagons that I know that buy Ethereum. I mean, everybody's doing their own thing. So it's far, but man, ROI.
That's
ROI. The chance that Pulse Chain and Hex, I mean, Hex has already done a 10,000x. Like those of us that were a part of that 10,000x, man, that is like so powerful. So until somebody comes up with something else that I think has the potential to do a 10,000x, my money's going to be right in the same thing. And now we're going to have the chance to do it again on a different network. The price is going to be different. It's not going to come out at 4 cents, I don't think. I mean, we don't know what the price is going to be. I don't know if it's going to immediately like level out and be the same. That would be best case scenario. Like, holy shit, if I can double my money right now, wow, like that would be that'd be sick. That'd be sick. Like, yeah, I mean, that's actually almost the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, one is like less, and then then it pumps. So it's really a win-win-win all around for anybody that's holding right now. And God, dude, have you created like an Excel spreadsheet and actually like done the math of like how much you're getting of like interest for your stakes, and like have you done anything like that?
No, I've been meaning to though. I've been really meaning to like sit down with my sister. She's like an accountant and she's really good with Excel. And I've wanted to sit down and have her
Yeah.
start mapping out a lot of this stuff because
I'll
I
send I'll send you my Excel spreadsheet. I worked on it for a while, and I've got one that
yeah,
like it calculates everything out for all 15 years, and it like breaks it down for the year, like 2 years,
nice.
5 years, like all the way out. And basically, you can like copy and paste from the like the hex what is it, like go to ihex.win or whatever it is,
Right.
where it shows you all your stakes. You can basically like put in like your total evaluation and like put that in you can just like copy and paste into the Excel spreadsheet, and it like shows you your interest in like at that current value what it will be. Like, so if hex doesn't move at all from this price
Right.
for 4 cents all the way out to 15 years with the compounding interest, not including all the evaluations of like the end stakes and all the other things
Yeah.
that like make you make more money. It's absolutely mind-boggling to see what what the interest that could potentially have like locked up can be over this long time. So I'll send that to you.
Nice.
After our talk, whatever. I'm happy to share that with you.
Right on, man.
Yeah, because your sister, I don't know if she's in crypto, but it's kind of complicated. Like, it's not a.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like simple math, but it's you gotta like understand it to build the the equations.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, yeah, cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, anything else exciting going on that you think is worth bringing up? Or I have something.
Yeah.
You got a couple more minutes?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so I want to talk to you about your nonprofit that you brought up earlier.
Yeah.
Um, the so my the real what really like has me motivated to make as much money as possible. Again, it's not a number really.
Mm-hmm.
Is I want to have a nonprofit as well, and what I want to do is provide as much access to equal opportunity of education as possible.
Nice.
So education is super important to me. I was
Yeah.
in a situation where I don't come from money,
Yeah.
but I had basically a situation where somebody that I met, sent me to like a private school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, for the last couple of years, I was a really troubled teen. Like, my parents were divorced, like the whole nine, like drugs. Like,
Yeah.
my life was not looking good for pretty much a long time, and nobody in my family like believed in me because, again, like the situation. Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
And I believe
Um,
you.
yeah, and so I basically had a friend's parents like what I consider like saved me and gave me access to better education than I currently had, and so access to educate like. And again, I know I can't change the world. I'm not saying like I'm gonna be a
Right.
world changer, but as many people as I can impact and give access to equal opportunity of education,
Yeah.
that's really my passion, and that's what I would be interested in a nonprofit. I mean, that's what I want to do with my money, essentially.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk about a little bit about your nonprofit and kind of what your ideas are and how that works?
Yeah. I mean, let me run it back just a little bit. Like, like I told you, I'm 42. So when I was 20 years old is when I got.
I'm listening. Sorry.
When I was 20 years old, I got involved in the mortgage industry, and I was, like a loan officer, and then that graduated where I became an account executive, and I was like, I was working for subprime companies up here in the Northwest, and that was before 2008. And so we were making great money, basically selling people loans that didn't deserve them. You know what I mean? And then everything crashed in 2008, and then I entered the telecom industry. I was in sales, and then I was married. I had 2 kids. Life was not bad. I was a rebel in high school, but then for like 10 years, I really just kind of drank and dabbled with weed. You know what I mean? Not hard. But then when I turned 30, I freaking I fell off the deep end. I fell into a meth addiction, and that went for like 5 years until I was like 35. and I went to rehab in Hawaii, got clean, and then I've been clean now for like 7 years. Doesn't mean I don't have a beer or haven't puffed or anything like that, but I've kind of thought that I wouldn't mind creating a rehab facility or help support rehab facilities. I know. Are you familiar with the hexiest man in the world? He's in our community.
Mhm.
He has a little bit of a background too of that, but I also could find myself giving to like I got a friend who runs an orphanage in Africa, and you know I've been wanting to visit him in Africa and just kind of go help a bunch of kids that don't have anything, So
Yeah.
it's just not like, oh, I want to go after like people who are on fentanyl. It could be just a number of things. I just think that there's an opportunity to maybe when you're financially free and you don't really need money per se to have to go to work. I think there's an opportunity in this community, Hexkins and Polskins, to create a nonprofit where there's just a lot of people that are going to be financially free, a lot of people, and um, that we could probably help shape and shift a lot of different things, like you said, education. And I don't think it needs to be one thing, but I do think that I want to build the nonprofit on the blockchain where you could attach maybe your MetaMask, and you can kind of see, like, you could kind of calculate if you're in state jurisdiction of like what you might want to contribute,
Mhm.
and then maybe you could allocate it to that specific flavor of nonprofit that you want to give towards. You know what I mean? Maybe more like a trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are not the only one in the Hex community that is on the same thinking path.
Right.
So like, yeah, we talked about like other coins being developed on Pulse Chain.
Yeah.
The one that I have been the most, I won't say involved with, because I didn't put the time and effort into it. But it's very similar type mindset of figuring out a way to basically reallocate some of the money into organizations like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so I do think there are ways to do that on the blockchain and cryptocurrency. Also, I just want to say congratulations on uh, becoming
Oh,
sober, or
oh yeah.
can you ever? I've also struggled with drug addiction. So after my
Yeah.
divorce, I found myself in a really dark place for a couple of
Yeah.
years, and so it was difficult to get out of it. So I, you know,
Yeah.
get
No, I mean,
I'm
yeah,
glad I'm glad you're here, man.
yeah, and I'm not like talking about cannabis. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah. No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. That's not what I'm talking. No, I
No,
love I love weed, man. I love weed. No, I'm not talking about weed.
no, but
Uh,
like
Other
those,
things.
yeah, those other things will they're real life debilitating. You know what I mean?
I
I
do
mean,
actually. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you could puff a joint and walk away from it for months on end. Certain
yeah,
things will just take you by the balls and not let you lead your life. But
yeah,
I, I'm appreciative of it though too, man, because when you have grinded and it builds character.
yeah,
You know what I mean? When you've conquered the mountain of
yeah,
overcoming something like that, whether it's for a lot of people, it's a lot of different things. Maybe it's a loss of a family member or whatever. When
yeah.
you overcome those things, you're more of a man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually haven't said this publicly, but I do believe in sharing my journey, my story as well. And you were very honest, open, so I feel comfortable.
Yeah,
I had an opiate addiction
yeah,
for over 2 years.
yeah,
That almost took me several
yeah,
times, and so uh, yeah, I'm 2 years clean from opiates, and that yeah,
yeah.
every day is a blessing that I'm alive. I feel like,
Right.
and I as unproud of I am to say that out loud, and I guess it's publicly if we decide that we're going to share this, with the world.
Yeah.
That is the truth, and that's the story, and but it is who it does make me the man that I am today.
Yeah.
And you can't always just run from your past. Sometimes you just gotta
Embrace
say
it.
it,
Yeah, you
embrace
gotta
it,
embrace
and
it. Yeah.
you gotta you just gotta be real with yourself every once in a while, and real with everybody else, so that they can
Yeah.
grow with you and learn from
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
that's
I mean, I lost the wife, the kids,
yeah
the houses, the cars. I mean,
yeah
a lot of every family member kind of looking at me sideways like they can't trust me. And I've had to rebuild it, and
yeah
I have. And then it's turned into other things where you get into crypto, and then it's like, aha, things are going to get even better. You know what I mean? It's not just that 9 to 5
um,
mindset. It's especially with Hex, you have that delayed gratification, long-term thinking.
um,
So we're in a special place, and I don't think it's by accident.
yeah. I don't think you and I are that different.
Yeah,
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 the exactly what you just said. The Hex is what saved me.
yeah,
I was when I was DCAing for that first year, I was like living in a friend's like living in my friend's house.
yeah.
I had a house, I had cars, I had a wife, I had dogs.
Right.
I had everything. I lost everything essentially. A combination of trading, getting into harder drugs, and then essentially finding myself with an opiate addiction. And
Right.
the only reason why I am not the gotta be careful with my words, but like Hex is what was my hope to get me through that. And
Right.
for that whole first year of DCAing, that was what I was going through.
Yeah.
And on that first pump, that gave me enough money to split from where I was living. I had to remove myself from the situation, and I went out and started a new life. I had a little bit of money in my pocket, and then so that's what happened. Like with me too. So good for you,
Good
man.
on, yeah,
Yeah,
good on you, man. So yeah, I don't know. I know that like I've been talking to a couple people. We've kind of been putting it on the bookshelf, but that's kind of like what you know. We're gonna focus on like what's in front of us, but that's kind of some of the thing that we kind of some legacy type stuff that we want to start building on.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it gives us motivation and the drive to to push forward and to blast through these things that people say that we couldn't do. Um, so
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man, very cool,
Yes,
very good. Well,
yeah.
do you have anything else you want to add or say to the podcast, or
No, I mean, I think that, I just give some context that we are in the latter days of July 2022, and that, we're still waiting on Polish chain. We're in Hex, and it is what we would consider a bear market. I think the bear market's going to go a little lower, maybe a lot lower,
maybe? Yeah.
maybe, you know.
Are you ready for it?
I'm ready. I've
I'm
been
ready too.
ready. I'm cool.
Yeah, yeah. Before the podcast, I know everybody that's listening didn't hear this, but we're both working.
Yeah,
So a lot of people they early retired, and I hope they're doing okay.
yeah,
These 90% dips, that is to be expected, and you have to. It takes time in the market, and it takes that first bear market cycle where you think you're rich AF, and then you're just like, holy shit, like I gotta go back to work. I was prepared for that. This market, I started working way like a year and a half ago. I did
yeah,
take some time off of Hex. I took my profit. Like I said, I was going through some things.
yeah,
Took my profit, went out, did some real self evaluation,
yeah,
decided to go back to work, and I've been buying the dip. I
yeah,
bought it. I bought it 40. I bought it 30. I bought it 20. I bought it 10. I bought it 5. And I'm gonna
yeah.
keep buying. I'm gonna keep buying all the way down. And so, anybody out there that is not sure what they want to do, DCA is what has worked for me. Don't be afraid to keep working.
Yeah.
Work hard, continue to work until you're really sure. Crypto is very volatile, so you don't want to quit too soon. That's for sure.
Yeah. If anything, if you think that you're doing better financially, maybe you could find some kind of work that you're more passionate about.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it gives you that opportunity to kind of, like you said, really evaluate if it's the right time. Because, like you said, you don't want to be selling your golden goose to live off.
Tell me about it. Yeah. I sold a heavy chunk of Hex. Over the last couple of years to live off of it when I was, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I'm back buying and gonna redo the cycle again.
Yeah, hammer down. Yeah,
cool, man. Well, Crypto Compassion, I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me, being so open and honest about your situation and who you are, what you want to do, and I think that's so important. I think that's what the Hex community is really so special about. Is like we don't have to hide about everything. The numbers speak for themselves. You see the chart. You can talk to all of us. Anybody out there that's listening, we're real people. We reached out to each other on Twitter and start talking, and now we're here sharing our stories, and we are way more similar than than I thought personally. I typically don't tell my whole story, but it's people like you that are motivation to people like me to continue to do what we're doing, and I hope I can offer you the same thing. So super happy to talk to you, and we're gonna do it again.
All right, man.
All right, later.
Later, guys.
Later, guys.